Do you mind shutting the door at 7? Cheers. That's my dad's Jay, what time do you have to be at work?
9.
I have to leave at 8, so you'll have to leave at 8. Did you know Pauline's mum died?
You didn't have to be a big buster at the day. She's got cabinet she can't do that. She's got part-time, but no,
good evening. I'll just use my own voice. Good evening and welcome to this meeting which we are facilitating so that residents in the local area affected by the proposed development can have their say. It's not an official meeting in the sense that we can't say to you that we'll deliver opposite, like we'll deliver the closure of the development, etc. But we're essentially here to support you, to get your views across. We did ask the developer if we would have a public meeting, and the answer on several occasions was no. So hence this meeting, which has been organised by residents, in particular one who's sitting here on the front row. So just some housekeeping rules or information. If you don't know, the toilets are outside in the foyer. If the fire alarm goes, it's not a practice alarm, so please leave by the fire exits, and there's an assembly point in the car park. Tonight we'd like everyone, as many as people as possible, to get their views across, so please try and be as brief as possible so that other folk can get their views across as well. Thanks very much.
Good evening, I'm Melanie Jones, I'm your district councillor. I've been working with your local resident Julie Outram on this development along with a few others. Julie asked us to come tonight to meet with you all over forward planning, what happens next. We cannot look back, we have to look forward and how we support you. But I will just introduce everybody else on the table. So you've got District Councillor Jake Williamson, you've got the Vice Chair of the Council, Hemsworth Town Council, Ian McGuinness, you've got the Town Clerk, Mick McKigney, this is Sarah, she is representing John Trickett. Town Councillor Gary Kendall and Town Councillor Peter Hardacre. So thank you for inviting us, Julie. We really do appreciate it. As far as I can see, tonight is for us to explain in our words what we believe are the next steps forward. So as you know, the field that the farmer owns is hoping to be developed. Now, we were under the impression that it would be developed by Banks Property, who've done this, having surgeries. The land, as far as I have been told by Banks Development on Wednesday night, belongs to the farmer still. It hasn't been sold as yet. And Banks advised me that they will not be building houses on there. They'll be getting outline planning permission. So I've been on the phone to the planning department every day. For transparency, if any councillor is on the planning committee, they are not allowed to speak about this issue because it's prejudicial. There are certain laws that prohibit them speaking. And I can confirm that neither myself nor Councillor Williamson are on planning. So we are okay to talk about it. I had a conversation with planning officers on Wednesday and today. Couldn't talk specifically about the site because they're under the same rules, but they gave me some information that I'd like to pass on to you. So the first thing that I'd like to pass on to you is what is outline planning? So outline planning is used to gain an understanding as to whether the nature of a development is acceptable or not. And it stops a commitment to the new owners to a specific kind of housing development. So basically, they'll apply for planning for so many houses. There'll be no type, there'll be no style, there'll be no plan. So in here, it's not what will be. That is not specific planning. That's outline planning. And this is what Banks told me on Wednesday and what I recorded. So when they go for outline planning in September, you can still object. What you cannot do is do a block objection. That will be counted as one. What you need to do is each individual person that wants to object has to do their own objection letter or online to the council. That has to be materially substantial. It can't be, I don't want to spoil the view, even though I know there's contentious issues with that. It has to be on things like access, egress, highways, the safety, pavements, any planning issues, flooding, ecology, loss of light, things like that. And it has to be robust. So I would always advise, if you are planning to object, get your evidence together as well. So get photographs, get any reports you may have, anything that you think will bolster your objection, get it together and submit it. I asked the planning officer, what about those people that cannot object online? And he said they can write a letter to Wakefield 1. So what I would suggest, we're not allowed to write it for you or hand it in for you. What I would suggest is, if there was a letter done that everybody could look at and
Could we do like a pro forma? So everybody, it's like a guideline, so you can put what you want on.
Yeah, one each, not like a petition though. And then somebody takes the objections to Wakefield 1. That would be what I would do if that was where I lived. The process of planning from following on from the outline planning. So they'll get, if they get the outline planning permission, they'll then sell that land to another developer, one assumes. The process then would be, they would submit an application and the council validation process would begin. So the council would look to see if it was a valid application. Once it's been validated, the council then puts up advertisements, signs, newspapers, things like that. Major applications, the determination time is usually 13 weeks, but it usually does go beyond that due to complexities. They then send out to consultees, so that can be internal, such as highways, which is why highways can't come to meetings like this. Yorkshire Water, external consultees, asking them for reports. Ecology. I have asked for the ecology report because I do think that will be an important one. It's then advertised so that the public can have their say, whether that be online or written. And I strongly suggest, if you feel you need to object, that that's what you do. Like I said before, they have to be materially substantial. And, you know, hopefully people can support you with this, your councillors can support you with this.
What councillors?
Well,
I've got none. There's one councillor for our estate, with others.
Well, there's some that
I'm here.
had.
No, but I mean, I don't mean your way, sorry about that, I mean for our street. Mr. Bates is for our street, isn't it?
Mr. Bates,
Sorry. It's for our street, isn't it?
for your ward.
He's got
Yeah,
curing
it's a-
responsibilities, and he asked me to give his apologies. Yeah.
Well,
and my colleague, District Councillor Kitchens, just had a very close bereavement, so she can't be here
and
tonight.
we support.
Yeah. Well, we're here, so hopefully we can support you.
Could I ask?
Can I just finish what I'm doing? Because I'm not taking questions yet, and I want to get through to support you, to get through what I've got written down so that you know the process. Okay? Large developments usually go to the planning committee. The planning committee are made up of councillors, which would be, if we were on planning, Jake and I couldn't be here. So I would assume that that would go, not, the decision wouldn't be made by officers, it would go to councillors who would read all your objections and make an informed decision based on the objections, the reports in front of them and what they see. I have to say, and you can check this, that the government have relaxed planning laws. And if a council rejects planning, it can go to the Secretary of State, who can overturn that decision. And this has happened in Fitzwilliam on a development. So please bear that in mind as well. Once the Secretary of State's made that decision, we can't overturn it. Okay, so that is from the district point of view. I can't comment on Hemsworth Town councillors. I'm not a Hemsworth Town councillor, I'm a district councillor, and I'm here to support you. So, Jake, would you like to add any points?
I mean, I think you've covered anything. I'd add, if residents are needing some help in drafting any letters to go in as objections, I'm sure we could maybe arrange sort of a surgery specifically on that topic if residents needed that bit
Sort of a
help.
working group.
Yeah, that sort of thing, yeah. I'm more than willing to do that.
Do you mind if so it hasn't already gone to the Secretary of State? I was led to believe
That's
that it had gone.
that's the inspectorate.
Right,
That's
okay.
to take the land, and planning permission hasn't even been applied for yet.
I think we've got two things running. We've got the local plan, which is councils can choose to do this to sort of manage sort of developments over like a 15-year period. They don't have to do it. Wakefield Council took the decision in 2017 they wanted to do this. So that goes through a similar process where that's with the inspectorate, which is under the sort of Secretary of State, and then whether that's approved or not, you've still then got to go through an outline sort of application for a particular development like LP21, and then there's another application that goes in later, but both of them sort of have the Secretary of State and the Planning Inspectorate sort of in those processes, so they're similar, they're just two separate tracks we're on.
Going on your working group, can we not make a working group with some residents? Because we've got some stuff we want to put up and videos, we want to show that video on that needs video and proof of what that traffic is like.
Yeah.
Cause
It's terrible, isn't it?
and then we need one more. They said that they're going to turn, most of the people are going to turn right and go through Fitzwilliam. We need to show what it's like through there as well. So if we can get a working group,
Absolutely.
so we can get some banners put up and some videos done and petitions and stuff, and then we could all probably work together with that one.
Absolutely. I do think that if you want to be in this working group, and we can't have it too large, because because if it's too large it won't work. If you do want to be in the working group, may I suggest that we take name and numbers if we leave them on the way out, and then Jake and I with the town councillors will sit down and have a look how we can formulate that, if that's acceptable to the residents.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good step forward.
Videos, bearing in mind I'm Lichfield,
Yeah.
and I see them, the building back me, I see them.
We need all, because they're saying that there's no traffic problems on that hill. That's what they're telling us.
Typical Labour council,
It weren't Labour actually, it were actually bank builders in the meeting we had.
Labour council.
So we're not taking questions yet, no, we're just trying to get through the processes on how we can support you. So I'm going to move on to Councillor McGuinness, we'll move down the table, then we'll take questions, then we'll look at the thing. But please bear in mind, we're here to support you, okay? So, Councillor McGuinness.
You've covered most of it, actually, Melanie. I know this process started quite a few years ago, before my time, and I came into it about a year ago. It had gone forward quite a way since I started, and even before I started, but I'm quite willing to help anybody if they want to put any objections in. Anything that I can do, I will do as a member of the council.
Can I just ask as well?
Yeah.
Can I just ask as well, the town council, when I was on the town council years ago, we did formulate a town council response to planning, and residents were able to look at that to help them. We did use a company, and I'm just wondering if the town council would be willing to help us with that.
I'm quite sure I would be.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a draft of what was said before, and it covers a lot of the issues that are already have been raised. And as Councillor Kendall has mentioned, we can help with that. Create a pro forma, an outline of the key issues to include if they directly affect you, so that people will then be able to put in their own letter, as Melanie has described, to Wakefield One.
Thank you. Sarah, anything to add?
Sorry, I hate public speaking. I'm sorry for everybody. John was unfortunately unable to attend today, so he asked me to come in instead just to listen to all your views. He still wants to fight as best as possible, and he has opposed and written and raised and attended the appeal hearing previously as well. But he is mindful that unfortunately the framework was put in place by the government, and then a government appointed inspector found the local plan to be good. So we are unfortunately in a difficult position. Anybody else?
Basically, I mean, I live on the same street as all you are. I've seen what's happened, and I've seen how it's all been done through back door. We had no involvement, and it was just by obviously seeing people in field, measuring things up and that. That's how we all got involved in it. And basically, they're not listening to anything we say. So what we've got to do, we've got to get as much evidence and as much things to put at them, to show them how bad a situation it's going to be if they're going to build all them houses there. Nobody can get out in the morning, can they? Anybody that's going in towards Hemsworth, it's going to be it's 10 minutes in it before you get through Cross Hills.
Yeah, but Bank said all traffic out of that estate would be turning right.
Yeah,
That's what they said.
yeah, but
What
they're trying to say is basically it's going to be a commuting estate, isn't it? It's not for people around here. People around here can't afford what they're talking about. They're talking about houses 250,000 plus in a situation where it's a 6% interest rate that people can't afford. So it's not for us, is it? It's for people to make profits, isn't it?
Don't get where, but I thought they had to do so many social hours.
Can I come back to you? I'm just going to go to Pete and then I'll come back to you. I've got a gentleman that wants to ask, then Tina, then yourself.
I'm all right now.
All right.
Well, all that said, I feel sorry for you because I think it's done and dusted.
Well, that's what Sam said.
I also think that.
Right. Can you just...
We didn't hear you.
Sorry?
Didn't hear what he said.
Well, he's giving his opinion, but that's not factual, Pete, so...
It's just that.
Do you mind standing up and saying your name?
Brian, I'm Springvale Rise. Can you just clear something up? You said earlier that bankers haven't got permission to build on there.
No.
Why have they sent these riders, these leaflets out?
They're allowed to do that. They're allowed to apply for permission. They're allowed.
Why are they doing these 20-minute interviews?
Because they're allowed to. They're allowed. I could come and apply. Sorry, can I answer your question? They're allowed by law. I'm helping you here. They're allowed by law to apply for planning permission, and they can produce whatever they want. I can apply for planning permission in somebody's garden, and that's a fact. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed. So, and I can't change the law.
Why do you think then there's only banks that sent them flyers out? Why ain't other building firms sent them flyers out?
Because they're probably...
sent them out?
Sorry, can I just ask that you just, please, I know you're angry.
I'm not angry, I just want something cleared up.
Because these must have an agreement with the farmer, but that's nothing to do with me. I can't tell you what their agreement is. So, thank you. So, Tina.
Are these working alongside Hemsworth Town Council? Do these get riders? Do these get money if they get planning permission?
That'd be for Hemsworth Town Council.
No, the only way that...
It's a known thing, isn't it?
The only way that...
Take a back end. 106, you're
Section 106 is specifically, it's known as planning game, and Section 106 money is reserved for example, doctor's surgeries, or schools, or other facilities in the area. Sorry? It doesn't have to be football pitches. If the agreement is that it will be football pitches, the Section 106 will be part of the planning permission that's given, the rights to go ahead. But that will not be in the outline planning permission, that will be in the final planning permission.
So you're saying you won't take a backhander?
Just let's watch our language. There is absolutely no way that there will be any backhanders. The way that the process works is that the developers pay a fee at the outline planning permission stage. At the next stage, when they go for full planning permission, they pay another fee, and that's on the basis of the area of the land they're developing and what they're proposing in terms of the houses. That's the facts.
Okay.
Yes,
so we will get 106 money.
No,
John, can I just say,
we will not get 106 money. The Hemsworth Town Council will not get 106 money.
Okay, I've got people asking questions. Maxine was next, and I want to do this in an orderly manner. If it's not done in an orderly manner, we won't get anywhere. So I've got Maxine, then the lady at the back, and then this lady, then this gentleman, then this gentleman.
Pass it on. I'm fine. I'll get mine.
If you'd just like to stand up and say your name. I'm not, it's not my meeting, but I'm sure that Councillor McGuinness can sort it out.
I've tried, I don't think it can.
Can I just ask, has anybody challenged this? Because the discrepancies that are in this are numerous.
Yeah, we've all challenged it when we went to see them the other night.
Right.
But
because they've got the high school down in the recreation area.
They've
They've got minimal development in Hemsworth. Then there's been 15.
We have all challenged it.
Listed them all.
But that's...
We've lost schools. We've lost...
What was their answer to that when you challenged them?
They said, oh, sorry, it was a mistake. Oh, sorry, we need to look at that.
Oh, somebody had looked at the computers.
They've called the water park Vale Head Park when it isn't.
So in the church, they look as though it's a lovely rural area.
It has been challenged.
And even, why do we need to know what it's like at Nestler?
Well, you'd have to ask banks that, because that's from them. But I'm not here on behalf of banks, I'm here on behalf of
I know you are, but I think it needs to be challenged again, because these people are looking at...
They're just going for outline planning.
This is why we want that working group, so that people like... this is why we need a working group, where people like you can come and tell us what we need. And
I want to be on that meeting. Cody and Woolsey, months ago.
It's been gone. Right, so...
I do apologise, I'm not an expert.
I just want to point out, I'm nothing to do with banks development. I'm here to help you.
I'm not saying not.
No, but please, I'm here to help.
I just wanted to know whether...
I challenged it and Julie challenged it the other day. But this is irrelevant anyway. This is going for outline permission.
It means nothing, this anyway, because they haven't even got the land.
It's just a glossy brochure to win people over, that's all.
This gentleman, please.
It's Mike. I live
Mike.
on Lowfield Estate. 25 years ago, I was school governor. And 25 years ago, maybe more than that, Wakefield Metropolitan District Council and their Education Department did what was called the Southern Area Review, looking at all school child places. And the event of that Southern Area Review was to shut 3 schools. One in Kingsley, Southmore Road and Archbishop Albert Hospital. Archbishop Albert, yeah. Since then, they've built on an Archbishop Holgate site. They built across the road from Kingsley First School. They built on Southmore. They built on the old Technical College, and they shut 3 schools because they said they didn't need them.
There's a growing population of children.
Yeah. So, and I know that one lady, a couple near me, sent their little girl to South England. Can't get in.
Wow.
What's going to happen, Melanie?
Yeah, well, you need to put that in your objection. I know that if you put that in your objection, that there are not enough school places, and
then you've got doctors.
Yeah, and dentists, and dentists.
Infrastructure in general.
Yeah.
2 years waiting for dentists.
Yeah, you can't. There's more than 2 years. I've been 3 years on West.
Somewhere else. There's nowhere else.
It was one of my things that it was one of the things that I brought up, the infrastructure, when when I had the meeting, and I was concerned regarding schools, doctors, dentists. The only answer that I got back from them was that money would be made available for doctors, schools, and such like. Now, if they're proposing to build 260 houses, there's not single people buying those houses, it's going to be parents. And that potentially can be 2.4 children, is it, per family? So that's another 500 kids to go into the schools in Hemsworth. If they build a classroom on West End and they build a classroom on St Helens, that's still not going to be enough to cover it.
Plus, there's not enough teachers, doctors, and dentists anyway.
You've got to fill those schools with teachers.
Remember that these are the ones what want to build on what to do Highfield as well. It's these.
This lady's been waiting for a long time. Do you want to just introduce?
Meeting.
Yeah.
I feel now they kicked me out. I couldn't answer. Well, they didn't answer all the questions. Well, mainly I don't know. Anyway, I says, can I just ask you what really attracts you to that field? Because of 500 cars going down into Cross Hills, it's going to make a big impact, and it's going to be congested. I said, it's already bad now.
Yeah.
Well, this is what it is Wakefield Council's give us that field. I said, are you sure? They've told me, I said, what were your logic about? So I would like to believe that at meetings, right? When it was put up in like in lockdown, when nobody could access it, none at public, they said, that weren't them, that will Wakefield Council. That's the second thing that they told me. I said, well, can I just ask you as well? I've got a split level garden. I said, I look well in that. I said, could you tell me where your boundary fences and those to maintain it, what time the building, what time the deliveries? I've gone through quite a lot of questions with them. I said, so what are you doing about that tree? Obviously it's where they're collection of fence or whatever they're gonna do a wall or whatever. And he says, oh, that's our tree. I said, what do you mean it's your tree? He says, well, we're going to have to assess it. Bring it down. I said, you'll be able to do that. But yeah, it will just happen.
Well, that is incorrect, you're right, because the field doesn't belong to Wakefield Council.
That's actually really bad. That people are not changing with having cars drive over. We've got a sports pavilion on here, shelters, and a golf course.
There's no golf course. I told them that. Totally inaccurate, isn't it? But this is because they're just going for outline permission.
It's just to pacify
It does, I agree. Gentlemen, and then Julie.
Deputy Owner from London because it's very pleasing to see so many people here tonight and the strength of feeling is absolutely palpable. My main concern is that although banks developers
Sorry.
I appreciate banks developers refuse to attend the meeting in an official capacity. But could we just have confirmation that there isn't anybody here representing banks, property developers in an unofficial capacity?
They refuse to come.
They may refuse to come. How do we not know?
Can we just listen, please? Thank you.
As far as we know, there's no one from banks here or none other agents, but that's as far as we know. But I mean, all I would say to you honestly, it doesn't really matter, because if they hear the strong voices opposing the developments, then they'll get the message. And the same will be the case when they get the letters from yourselves and others that say we're opposed to this development because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know. And as other folk have said, if that's backed up by evidence, you know, pictures, you know, the issues about the schools, the roads, etc., then that will have weight with the people who will have to look at the planning application, the councillors and Wakefield Council, etc.
Julie, and then this gentleman.
Obviously, most of you know me from Springvale Rise and whatever, from actually looking with all this. I've also had my appointment with banks. I was the first on Wednesday. I was asked to leave twice. I wouldn't go, as you can imagine. You all want, which nobody's mentioned, because obviously, apart from Councillor Kendall, you need to look at the whole infrastructure. It's not a matter of where you live, on what side of Springvale Rise. It will affect each and every member of this community. From the transport, from the schools, from the doctors, from the dentists, from even trying to get out of your own estate to get down into the village. I actually listed and did 25 questions, which I thought most of us as residents, not councillors, sorry for a minute, as our residents would want to ask. If I just have a few minutes just to read through, and actually I flummoxed them. I saw the 3 planning officers, the main ones. Sorry Ian, you were due to see him, but I wouldn't leave, so you had to be sent to another table. She did ask me twice and I wouldn't leave. So these are basically, if I quickly tell you what I asked, and if I see you all nodding, I know you would have asked the same. Could I just ask for a show of hands, how many actually have made Banks's appointments? How many actually have been? So did most of you come on Wednesday, or is 1 or 2 coming next Tuesday? So as you can see, a lot of people are here tonight that need answers, and basically you would have asked, I hope, the same questions that I've tried to ask on your behalf. Basically, my first one was, why? Why are you actually destroying the last really big open green belt space that we've got in our community? The answer they gave me was because Hemsworth has not been reaching its housing targets. The gentleman's already quoted, I believe we've got 15 developments. We fielded a matter. My husband has done everything. The amount of houses, the waffle-mix. They wanted to know if it was part of the Wakefield Plan 2036. The buildings right from Souls, what they're doing, future at Highfields, we mentioned them all. They didn't have no answers. The second one, to confirm, was it 266, was it 260? We've all heard about the 11.3 hectares. Again, they won't give no clarification on the correct number. That they would be submitting planning application for 260. Conveniently, under the 300 mark, which means only one access. Only one access. I then asked what kind of houses were they going to be. And bearing in mind I had the main development officer that's worked for Banks 30 years, I was told no bungalows. So I thought, I thought it was going to be a public consultation to keep it in view with Springvale Rise, bearing in mind bungalows, roofs, heaves. No bungalows will be built. No bungalows will be built. They are to be from top of Wakefield Road to the bottom. He told me two-storey houses. Not three-storey, two-storey, because they were the biggest marketing seller of homes, family homes. The privacy, which I believe one of the residents, we've been gathering questions, wanted to know. The privacy distance between each house that they'll be building is classed at 21 metres. Bearing in mind, they'll have a garage, they'll have these plug-ins for electric cars and so forth. Yeah. Now this is going to probably be a shock to most of you. The 3-metre cycle pedestrian track that we've all had visualised running at the back of our borders, boundary fencings and walls, they know nothing about it. It's on the original LP21, you picked it up.
And they said that was, again, to the lady over there, that wasn't us, that was Wakefield Council, so we knew nothing about it, so it's one of those
Well,
again.
the actual 3-metre cycle track is what they are calling on their plan. Footpath 12 is the one down the middle. Bearing in mind we have 2 footpaths down into Vale Head Park. The one originally down into the railway bridge by the golf course, or the one straight across. That on the plan is footpath 12. That is going to be the 3-metre cycle track for pedestrians, walking straight through, many dog walkers in the middle of an estate. The next one, which you're probably not going to like what I'm about to tell you, how close are you going to be to my border, my fencing, my perimeter wall? You'll have seen from the plans, the lovely how they set it out, they will be back to back, garden to garden. No privacy, nothing. Back to back, garden to garden. I asked what they'd be doing as a border in between, no answer. They couldn't answer. The construction, I actually asked, as I believe quite a few residents asked that attended, what about the noise to residents? We live in a nice quiet zone area. Or you'll get a lot of noise on a construction site. That's what the answer I got. Well, what times are you looking at? Between 8 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. There won't be any weekend work. Another resident's been told they will work Saturdays. And there will be considerable noise, there will be considerable dust. They'll try and alleviate as much as they can. No answers at all, are there, really, when you think about it. Obviously, there's a lot I asked about. Most important, the evaluation of our properties. I know some of you have had valuations of the properties, and they don't believe it. The main one from banks ignored it, passed it off. But it would like residents to know they do not operate a compensation payment system. So,
I was told that as well, Julie.
thank you.
Yeah,
I know one or two residents have had different answers depending which members of the bank's teams that you actually saw. I actually saw the main planning officer that worked for him 30 years with one of the architects, and they were stumped for some of the answers. I could go on. I asked about the impact of street lighting. Over 200 homes adjacent to ours, back to back. We're in darkness at the moment on the left-hand side. We all probably have bedrooms in the back, whatever. There will be noise. It's a full new mass big estate, proposed estate. You will have all the lighting, you will have all the noise, and all this, when we think about it, is coming under one access. One access from Wakefield Road.
Oh, God.
That is the biggest that I can say is absolutely not going to work. It's going to have a detrimental effect on this community. One access. How are they going to get all the roads of traffic from Wakefield, from Fitzwilliam, all convenient to get down into Hemsworth? One of them didn't see a problem. They'd mess about with the junctions on lights on Station Road to divert all the traffic up Ollybank, up through Fitzwilliam.
Can I just come in there as well? I asked that question. He says, we're going to do something on Cross Hills to alleviate the traffic. I said, well, it's a medieval road around the church, so can you tell me what? Because if you've got an answer to that traffic, I'm sure that Highways would love to know that. He couldn't give me an answer. And to add to your dust, I lived on a new estate. We were the first house built. We had heavy goods vehicles on and off all the time. So they will be on the main roads through Kinsey, Fitzwilliam and Hemsworth, plant machinery, and you'll also have floodlights.
These are available. I've put them on table if anybody wants to read them, because I've tried to do them to look what you would want to ask. I spoke to a lot of you, as of District Councillor Melanie Jones, and thank you for that, Mel. You came down and saw as many residents as you could. You spoke with them, you took the questions on board. Some have left them
got the answers.
Yeah, quite a few more effects as well, I'm afraid, Mel. And obviously, the main thing as well, I asked about the price of the houses. They will be high-priced luxury homes. You've got the same. There will be no social housing, no affordable housing, no shared housing, no right to rent. For any younger members of our community wanting to get on the property ladder, nothing. They are high-priced luxury two-storey houses.
To add to that though, she did say to us that at some point during the construction and development of the building to go, actually we'll have some smaller dwellings here, so at some point...
Yeah, for rentals maybe.
It's all maybe, isn't it? There's nothing...
Regarding the price of the houses as well, sorry to interrupt.
Gentleman.
I don't know if I've got permission to... Can I speak, Mel?
We've just got this gentleman, then you.
So I'll leave them on table if anybody wants to look everything the price really.
That's you're fine now.
This gentleman's been waiting for a while. Do you mind standing up? Because
you're not being really good with computers and things like that.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a formulated timeline that's easily accessible to other residents apart from down at Woodlands? I live on Holly Bank.
Yeah.
And I sympathise with saying things, with
well, you're going to be affected with traffic.
Yeah, we're all going to be affected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to degenerate everything even more, if you ask me. Yeah. So is there going to be a timeline as to when we can post, where's it going to be advertised?
Right.
Apart from on internet and things like that.
Like
is there going to be leaflets come to the
like I explained earlier, the application, the determination time is 13 weeks, but usually longer on big developments. They said that once it's validated, they advertise on signs, newspapers and leaflets through affected people's doors. But keep in contact with us, your town councillors, your district councillors, Julie, we will keep you updated and make sure that you know. I can't give you a timeline now because I don't know when they're going to put the plan in.
Do you understand the question though?
Yeah.
Because
I do.
These
I totally
companies
do.
the things as quietly as
Yeah,
possible.
exactly.
You know
But
what I
we're
mean?
going to keep an eye on it. We're going to keep an eye on it. And if we've got this working group, I've got Tina then yourself, if that's all right. If we've got this working group, I hope we can spread the word to those. Because I did say to Wakefield One, we've got people that cannot use the internet, do not want to use the internet and want to write a letter. That's fine. We can get that letter written, get it in an envelope, and if we all get together, we can take a job block.
See, it's going to affect, like this lady said.
Well, my dad lived on Lodge Street, so I know. Yeah.
Completely. 270 houses, 260.
I totally agree.
Do you know what I mean? They ain't no infrastructure in place.
I'll just let Jake come in.
Essentially, we have to wait until they put the outline application in, which they're saying autumn, so it could be any time. Maybe next
but we're keeping an eye on
couple of weeks, next month or two. But in that time, obviously, we can take advantage and just start drafting up some objections for people, to start writing and for people to be collecting the evidence now. So right now, start thinking of how you're going to be affected. Start getting any evidence, whether that's videos, traffic and stuff, going down towards Cross Hills and things like that. Just start collecting all that now, and then everything. And if people are like videoing it and taking pictures anyway, they'll all have like a timestamp within the video or photograph anyway.
Can I suggest school time? Suggest school time.
So
3 o'clock.
So from now, we all need to start preparing. Once we know when it's gone in, that's when we can start just hitting the objections and start sending them.
I live in Top Bungalow on Springvale Rise. We've lived there 9 years. The previous owner to that bungalow put planning permission in twice to have an house built on the corner garden, and they said no because of access. But they can have access 50 yards down road for all these houses. So it's like, and I mentioned it to them and they said times have moved on. I mentioned
Yeah,
this to
Secretary
banks,
of
and they
State
said
has
they were going to
changed the
see
laws.
planning.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'll put planning permission in again.
Yeah, and see
Well,
this lady again, and then this lady, yeah.
One of the questions I asked them is overbuilding these properties, and they said it's going to be subcontractors.
Yeah.
So I said, have you used these subcontractors before? And he said, no. So I said, have you built an house in the state before? And he said, no. I thought,
They're basically selling it on once they've got permission. So they'll buy it off the farmer, get permission, then they'll sell it on.
They're only selling an idea, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally
That's right,
agree.
Bear,
This lady here, and then Kathy. If you don't mind, 'cause we really.
Good evening,
Hiya.
I'm Janet Atkin and I
Hiya.
live on Woodlands Crescent. We've not been there long, but I'm concerned about the ecology.
Yes.
And my brother lives in Ackworth, and he told me not so long ago they wanted to build near the playing fields in Ackworth. And they found species on there. What stopped it? Now we've got the same species, it's part of the same field. You know, I appreciate people need homes to live in. I think everybody here does. They're not going to be homes for people who can afford or come round from Hemsworth, etc. But to destroy, you know, we've watched the deers. We've got ladies here what got pictures of crested newts.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we have badgers with all sorts of wildlife. And we're in a crisis now where we're looking at our children coming up, our grandchildren. We're watching the change in the environment. If they were planting a load of trees, most of these people here would have no objection.
Yeah, but they're not.
Yeah, but how long does it take
I'll
to
just
go?
come in there because I chair West Yorkshire Joint Services, which includes ecology and archaeology, and I'm also friends of Vale Head, and we had an ecology report done on Vale Head, and we did find. Can I use that? We found an orchid in Vale Head that was really rare and of ecological importance. There's also water voles, brown long-eared bats. I can't say that word, another bat, that falls within an amber risk zone, and John's aware of that. But I did say to them, I said, I want to know who your ecologist is, I want to see your report, because I totally think that is a major thing. I also brought up the drainage, and...
Can I just interject just a minute? I actually sent an email to David Attenborough.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to know where this zone was. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I assume he's probably going to ask people to look into it.
I hope so.
But we are losing so much, and we're causing flooding.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be tarmac.
Yeah.
And we're going to be adding more and more to places, and yet there's ground sites all over.
All over. Totally agree.
You know, you go through Featherstone and you see a pub what's derelict.
Yeah.
You see a load of flats what need to be.
Yeah.
And people need affordable homes.
Yes, totally agree.
And we're going to ruin another environment.
I totally agree, and Julie is aware that I brought up
I know,
the marsh at the end,
yeah.
and I was quite patronised by the planner because he said we're making it better. And I said, you're not making it better. How? He said, it's just arable land. I said, no, how can you make something better by tarmacking it? Anybody knows that. You're just pushing the water problem. We've already got a water problem, which is why we've got naturalisation on the golf course. We did naturalisation to encourage wildlife onto that section. So if we're encouraging wildlife into there, what we're saying now, we're going to build there and kick you back over. You know, these are, and I share, I'm really passionate about ecology. Yeah.
You know, these are not...
I know, I've heard, yeah. And
on the subject of concreting it over, it's 260 houses, high end, so I'm figure off the top of my head between 200 and 250,000 pounds per house. What single person in the family can afford for a mortgage for that? Both members of the family are going to be working. There's going to be 2 cars per household. That's potentially 500 cars going in and out of that estate.
the price of these houses is going to be a saving factor, because I don't think people will be able to afford them.
We've got Cathy that's been waiting for quite a while. We'll just bring Cathy in.
Obviously, you're all talking now about 2 cars, the traffic, etc. We need to be highlighting air pollution. We've got a school that is, you know, there's a big report about children with asthma.
Well,
is someone actually going to do some air pollution statistics when there's stood traffic? Because that is a major thing, especially with schools. You've got the high school, you've got schools going through Kingsley, Fitzwilliam, that are all on those routes. So who
Well, at high
actually
school, all kids actually go on that road. That's the only entrance into high school, isn't it?
Who do we get to do that test? So we've got some reports.
Somebody's phone ringing.
Sorry.
It's all right. There was a gentleman at the back, and then this gentleman. The lady, sorry, I can't see, I'm only short. Do you want to stand up? Cause it's
So I live on top of Springvale, and I did go to a meeting the other day. Felt like a bit of a wish-wash meeting. I've got somebody that had been here a couple of years, somebody that had been here a year, somebody that had been here a couple of months. We're taking no notes down.
No.
Started losing my temper, because even your way of forgiving for answers. Saying I think that's the way I'm losing temper. Because I was like, but then you come out, I think everybody does need to go, but then you come out, you get a questionnaire to fill in, to post, I'm like, well, this is why I've taken my time out for you to mark these comments down. And I did get up the wildlife, the infrastructure, saying that I've been to a council meeting, I think you got Ian Wormsley, that said, Cross Hills is one of the worst polluted areas.
It's not, but it's not that there is a but it will be.
I've seen it, like I said, I live on Second Bulldog. High school traffic, parking outside our houses, we can't get out.
The council do air quality, and I looked into Cross Hills, and there are more, but it will get worse.
These sort of major developers, I saw some dog bodies, okay. And I actually emailed them up and I said, in future, like, there were things that I weren't happy with, so I've emailed them and said, look, we're taking our time out, why do we need to go to 90? We've got 3 people sat at the desk.
Take notes. I agree.
We need to know, you've got your name, we've got your address.
I'm going to take this gentleman that's had his hand up, and then we've got 10 minutes, because we need to go forward, right? We need to decide what we're going to do next. So I'll take this gentleman, and then we're going to decide what the next steps are.
Right, I live on Springvale Drive, like quite a few people here. And when I moved in 20 odd years ago, it was a through road. From Wakefield Road to Station Road. Then about 6 or 7 years ago, they put some bollards up. To stop the rapping, which is perfect. Now, what's your...
They're not taking the bollards out. No.
Well, it'd be worse. It'd be more dangerous.
I've asked that question.
What's their answer to that?
Banks has said they
are... Does that come under highways?
That comes under highways, Banks has said they will not be taken. They have no...
If they bunk highways, then
they'll be bunking highways. So, right, moving forward now, we've had 50 minutes of, talking what we're worried about and things like that. I've got sets of questions from residents that I've got answers to that I'm going to see the residents over. So's Julie. We need to move forward now. I'll come to you in a second, look, that's all right. We need to move forward, and the way forward is that you all have to put objections in once this outline planning permission comes in. There's nothing we can do meanwhile, but we all need to start collating evidence and getting an objection into the outline and then into the detail. I will take this lady because she's had her hand up quite a while.
You just said that bouncers have said that they wouldn't be taking the bollards down.
Because they're not allowed.
Yeah. Well, how come bouncers, when you're saying that they've nothing to do with it?
But they're not.
They haven't got the right to...
But they can't come and take bollards down. They can't do that. It's highways.
Why have banks said that? If banks are not building on that land?
Because I was asked to ask that question. I've asked that question, and highways are responsible for that, not banks. No developer.
I think she's meaning, how can they say it's not going to happen when it's not them what's doing the development?
Because it was a question that I was asked, and they didn't know anything about it, and they were like, we know nothing about it, Bollard.
Can I just come in again?
Right,
Can I just come in again?
you can, but...
Right. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought now.
Right, so moving forward, do you want to object?
Yeah.
Right, so we now need to formulate how we object, and that would be the working group.
I just thought about it.
Right.
More in a senior moment.
Having a few of them myself.
If the road builds up from the traffic like that, is now past Springvale Rise,
yeah.
and the highways are getting a rollicking for not sorting it out, they may think, oh, we'll alleviate that, we'll open that rat trap again.
You're making assumptions though, aren't you?
They're going to be under with these, they're going to be under with that.
We'll object.
Bodies on when
We'll object to anybody trying to set them
We'll be sat on them.
We'll object to anybody trying to.
But this is all assumptions as well. Jake and I, right, we've got to move forward. We've got to move forward. I have to leave at 8. I've been out since 7:30 this morning. I have to go. I've got to pick my daughter up. I've been here. I've listened to you. I'm a district councillor. I wasn't around when the LP21 was being done. I was elected in May 22. Jake was elected in May 23. We're here to support you. The suggestion that Maxine had of a working group, I think is excellent. It can't be too big because it will not work. So may I suggest that we get a working group together, that Jake and I take turns in facilitating with you, and some town councillors as well that are interested in it. May I suggest that the Town Council commission a report to assist with objections? You know, looking at, you know...
Putting a letter in.
Putting a letter. And moving forward, we'll have these working groups and we'll all work together and we'll all keep in contact with each other, like networking.
Can that be highlighted as well to community, surrounding community?
Yeah. I don't have the facilities to do that, only via my Facebook. So unless the community wants to do that, I can do it via my Facebook, but I can't knock on how many thousands and thousands of doors.
Can it be highlighted to,
We can get it out.
you know, Olibank?
Olibank.
Oh yeah.
You know, an area, well, we're talking the immediate...
But word of mouth works for that as well. So just to come to this lady.
Can we have a petition, please?
A petition won't work.
What, traffic petition?
They'll only accept that as one objection. It has to go in as individual objections.
Can't everybody sign up that lives in
That won't work either.
It won't work.
It won't work.
That's what I was really clear about. You have to.
People put on this petition.
Yeah,
It's
they'll
got to be
count it as one.
This is planning law. This is planning law.
But if it's 1,000 individual letters that we put together, you put your objections in, sign it, they'll all count.
Well, even when you're putting individual objections in, it can't be a copy and paste job.
No.
They have got to be different. Because they'll look at that and go, well, then if there's 1,000 going and 750 say, they'll go, well, they're all saying that's one. So
I'll give you an example there. I've done that, and the person that was doing the plans for this person came back and said, well, clearly she's got an axe to grind because she's gone down, I won't say what street I lived on, and she's got them to do the same letter, and they put that in their defence. So so there can be a pro forma, but you need to
be careful how you do it.
What I would like to do now is, Julie, do you want to take names and addresses for a working group?
What, if you want to leave them in reception, foyer, anything. I just want to quickly ask Sarah, are you feeding all this back to John to Trickett everything, Sarah? So, because obviously I've got Mr Trickett's letters as well. He's represented us, he's done meetings. Obviously we've got the signed petition right from the beginning on the 5th of August 2021. This was signed by 306 members of our public. Sadly, a few have passed away, and we've actually lost a dear neighbour this week who would have been here tonight, which Melanie was going to meet. We'll go back to meet him in his life. As you all know, we've lost Tommy Rayner on Monday, leaving his lovely wife Carol. And with the support now, because if you think on We've had no support before from our councillors at HTC. This is what it was all about. We've now got help from councillors, and I'd like to just say it's very much appreciated from each and every one of you that has attended this evening, and it's glad that you're going to be serving and helping this community, because that's what it's all about. LP21 is just not a field at back of Springvale Rise. This is the entire community that's going to be absolutely under cost from what they're about to do.
And I'd love it if you could get the photographs of the deers, any birds you see, anything like that. Get the photographs. When I've put planning objections and been successful in the past, I've really put, for example, there was a car crashed and a lorry got stuck. I got my phone out, got the photograph, put it on. It really does help, and we can start now.
Yeah,
we're ahead. We're ahead. Yeah. So let's start now. So if you can, I'm sorry, you know, we are time constrained, but a working group, put your names down. We'll meet again, us councillors that are here, with Julie, and then we'll look at who's on this working group, and we'll formulate some working groups if we can use Hemsworth Town Council rooms, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that all right? If you want to join working group, hang on and put your name and number down.
Hey, I looked at it, I know that.